You've heard of a long lens. This one here meets that requirement. Would you want to backpack this in and that tripod? Why don't you take the tripod out of the case? Just don't drop it. I think that the main thing I've learned is obsession is good. Only an obsessive person, I guess, would spend thousands of hours and thousands of dollars in 7 years to find a spot from which a drawing was made. It was fun.
We're here to do the final step, I think, of a long effort to locate the exact viewpoint of the first government expedition drawing in the Rocky Mountains. I have read old reports, I've read old newspapers, I've purchased almost every book on the subject, all of which are at least partly wrong. I've talked to people who might know something, most of them don't, and I could go into excruciating detail and put you to sleep, but I won't.
So,
Oh yeah, that's the one. Okay.
this is
This is
for
we
you.
love to her in.
The point where the drawing was made, you can get Verizon 3 bars, but you can't at that place we're camping.
But we need to label things. We haven't done that yet, Dad.
We haven't labeled anything.
No, you got the
You
white
can at least
tape.
put white tape. You should at least get the white tape.
Get the white tape, and do you have the big marker?
I've got it
I thought
right
I took
over
one
in the
as
car.
well.
I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
take a marker too.
110 AC, 12 volt DC, a USB output, and so we will have electricity. Everybody needs a volt ohm meter. How else would you check voltage? Especially in the mountains. This one's too big. I never go in the mountains without solar power and the chargers for the 5 or 6 different kinds of batteries used by my various Nikon digital SLRs.
John Charles Fremont got funding for an expedition in 1842 to explore and map the terrain of what later became the Oregon Trail. Fremont was intrigued by what he thought was the highest mountain in the Rockies. It was widely thought at the time that the origin of major American rivers was also the highest point in the country. It isn't, and wasn't. This is just to protect the very fragile antenna. And this is a modified pencil case. And so I'm going to pass it to somebody and I'm going to talk you through the steps.
Hold on a sec, bro.
Is anyone going to take it before the mosquitoes eat me? Okay, I guess that I can organize it into pieces. After his first immensely popular report was published by Congress, I paid $2,000 for one of the 1,000 copies of it. Why get a new car when you can buy the original copy of the Fremont report? And this is an illustration that's only about 6 by 9 inches in that report, but the engravers put in a lot of detail. Here is the actual original drawing that was the first ever made by a trained draftsman in the Rocky Mountains, certainly on a government expedition the first. And you see it's not really a very big drawing. I became curious about where this drawing was made. Obsessively curious, as only I can get, because it was difficult. Easy things aren't fun because they're easy. I'm almost 80, but in my mind I'm 12. I've had some interesting minor health setbacks is what I call them the last couple of times I came in. 3 years ago, within 12 hours after I got back home, I lost something like 1.5 liters of blood from a bleeding ulcer I didn't know existed. So I apparently had that problem while I was in the mountains, I just didn't know it. Did you know that old blood is black? Blood that's been in your intestines a while is black. So you've probably never seen 1.5 liters of black blood, have you? Well, I have. It made a spectacular mess. So in 2017, I took in 10 tripods, I took in 10 camera bodies, and I set up an intervalometer. I also modified a ham radio telescoping mast to become a 23-foot high tripod. And that was to get above the trees that obscured some of the view that was available in 1842. at night I felt achy all over my body, and I woke up in the morning and I couldn't walk without falling over. So I called, got my sat phone out. You always have to have a sat phone in Wyoming because cell phones don't work a lot of places. Okay, well, this is the fragile part. It's very easy for this to break off.
And that's
then
the antenna,
your head.
right?
Yes, that's the antenna.
And we need
So
to find a clear line of sight to the sky.
you need to have, here we probably have enough sky, but if you're
Yeah.
in the trees, it probably won't work.
Right, so we have to go out to a clear area.
Go
Yeah.
ahead and press this button and hold it in to turn it on. No, this button. That's the you just called. You would have just called the search and rescue with that button. That's
Oh,
the search and
Jesus.
rescue button. The SOS.
So
that's
this
why I
also
said,
has a search and rescue button.
yes.